I'm here with Kate Hadley, who is Director of Events at the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association. And we're talking about the importance of the PCO to our associations, be that in-house or as an agency. Now, I've known Kate for many years. We've worked together, not least at her organisation, but at other organisations. But
Over
Kate,
25 years, Barbara, actually. That's
so,
how old we are.
and we're both looking fantastic on it, so that's great. Kate, do you just want to tell us a little bit about what you do, what your role is?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, I'm Director of Events at the Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association. We're a professional membership body representing about 1,700 members in the financial services sector. And our mission is all about helping everyone achieve a better income in retirement. I've spent most of my career working at the PLSA, but within different roles, and also spent some time in the medical healthcare sector, doing events both in the UK and overseas. I've recently been appointed as an executive director to the PLSA board. So I now have a role on the board, also contributing to the strategic and operational leadership of the PLSA. In the capacity of Director of Events, I'm responsible for driving forward and implementing the event strategy for the association. Events are quite important to our association, bringing in just under 50%, well, historically bringing in about 50% of the association's income. I oversee a team of 6 of us. We're all in-house PCOs. And we run about 5 conferences a year, the largest, our annual conference, attracting about 1,600 attendees with about 80 exhibition stands. And then we run a variety of webinars, roundtables, training on top of that throughout the year. So that's a bit
Fantastic.
about
It sounds, it's certainly a very busy role. I can sense that the revenue generated by the program that you manage is really important for the association. I guess, great that you're now on the executive board. Could you give us a sense of the sorts of conversations, the sorts of um, uh, strategic direction points that you discuss there, and how events feeds into that?
Yeah, sure. As you highlight, for us, events are very much key from a financial perspective. So we have about 4 kind of high level strategic objectives, one being financial, one being membership, one being policy, and one being internal. For us, the events cover off, kind of sit within 3 of those objectives. I've spoken about the financial one. We really are key to the organisation's financial stability. The income we generate is pretty bread and butter to the organisation. However, with COVID and with us, moving from face-to-face, not being able to do face-to-face, moving to digital, we've seen that income fall, and something that was taken for granted. There's a real spotlight being shone on it now, as you can imagine, at board level. So that's the financial objective that we cover off, which I would say is the main one for events. But also on the membership perspective, our events create the face of the PLSA, really, make the PLSA a tangible thing to our members. And the content that derives from the conferences provides the support and education. We create the networking platforms, which is so important with regards to membership engagement. And it assists us with really demonstrating the value of our membership from those events. And then from the policy perspective, our events kind of help showcase the work we do on the policy side, and for members, non-members and stakeholders, they can assess our credibility and influence. So really, it's so broad, kind of where events sit in to helping us as an organisation achieve our objectives. So they really are kind of key and across lots of areas.
It sounds like what you bring to the table for the long-term survival health of the association is absolutely critical. And I guess also there are many touch points where you're talking to non-members who could potentially become members. So it's a really important recruitment strategy.
Yes, and in the whole kind of digital world that we now live in, we've managed to successfully extend our reach to our members and non-members. You haven't got those barriers that were in place with regards to travel and time out of the office. People can consume the information live or on demand. So we've been really happy with the uptake and new interest that we've managed to gather from the events that we've done digitally. And I suppose that sets us up quite well for the future when you kind of look towards a hybrid model. One thing that's quite interesting with regards to the larger conferences we run, I was very much expecting us to have more people tune in than the face-to-face events. But what has happened and is happening with our event in 2 weeks' time is that we're seeing the same total number of delegates. But out of those total number of delegates, 50% are new people that have not attended our live events in the last 3 years. So I'm kind of a bit miffed about where the 50% are that usually attend our face-to-face events, but it gives that opportunity for the future with two separate kind of audiences and target groups to move forward.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Mm.
So, I mean, I guess like for all of us, APCO members, PCOs out there, 2020 was, an incredible year where we all had to completely reinvent what we do. We threw the rule book out. We all sat down, became inventors, builders, creators. We didn't really know what was going to work, what would. I mean, what did you achieve? What failed dismally? What would you do again? How are you improving this time around?
Yeah. God, lots. So I think we were quite fortunate in the fact that we didn't have to run our first digital conference until October time. So we were fortunate in the fact that others went before us. So we were able to learn a lot and listen. And one thing that was key to us was very much tuning in and extending our reach with people and doing that networking side with people, our peers in other organizations that we hadn't done before. So we learned a lot. Also, what was key for us was very much kind of listening to what our members were telling us that they needed. We were also conscious of there was a very much period of time when we locked down where everything was in limbo and we didn't know when we were going back to face-to-face events. And we were very conscious from a membership perspective of being able to demonstrate value of membership with the lack of face-to-face events. So we very much started off doing a few we learned about Zoom very quickly and pushed out some quick webinars, but for us they were just free, and it was like, well, we can't just push out free stuff, we need to be mindful of the money side. We were in a fortunate position that we had actually got quite a bit of revenue already in for the face-to-face events, so we thought, okay, well, we'll just lift and shift that money. Unfortunately, it wasn't that easy convincing some of our exhibitors and sponsors of the benefits of digital was hard, and we actually only managed to convert a fraction of that. What we did realise was that content was king. Anything associated with content sponsorship kind of flew, and the exhibition side was left behind to a certain extent. So for us moving forward, and in order to kind of add more kind of money to the mix, and kind of work on and concentrate on areas that do make money for us, we've managed to create more kind of content sponsorship, different variety of sessions to suit different needs, different in terms of length, live or recorded, cameras on or not, smaller peer-to-peer groups. So we've introduced a whole load more content, very much based on kind of pick and mix, kind of watch it live or on demand. People dip in and out. So we've introduced a lot more content, which has equaled more revenue for us on that side. And anything that's exhibition wise, we make sure that there is they have some content in the program, so that there's a kind of a driving factor to get people to talk to them in the exhibition kind of hall afterwards. The other thing that was key for us, trying to address as much as possible the networking side, was to align ourselves with a digital conference platform that had AI capabilities, in order to match a delegate's,
tagging.
Yeah, exactly, and to help them with the networking, etc. I think I somewhere that actually in the long run, digital networking is much more efficient way of making contacts than wandering around an exhibition hall. But I think it may take a while for people to get on board with that and used to the technology.
So speed dating for business, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I guess I'm interested because you sit on the executive board, and I imagine therefore you didn't have much difficulty in sharing with your board and getting their agreement to what it was that you felt that you needed to do to make your virtual meeting successful. And as you go into next month's conference, there'll be lots there that you'll further gain ground on, and you have in a way a very privileged position, in as much as you're recognized as making a difference. I mean, what kind of lessons or experiences or top tips might you share with our ABCO community for those whose boards aren't listening to them, who would wish to be in the same position as you? How could they push themselves forward, help their organizations recognize them as being strategic to their future?
Yes, I can imagine in some associations it's not easy, and I suppose the kind of how much reliance from a financial perspective that an association is on events also plays into the mix. I mean, one thing we did internally was very much work out as a team kind of how we added value to the association, and we kind of wrote down a little kind of mission statement of how we added value, and so there was a kind of, for us, there was a bit of self-promotion within the organization itself, and a real understanding in the team about our purpose in life, and how we fit it in. I think with regards to the board level, and acknowledging things, one thing, why events are so highly regarded is because that's what our members say, and I think you have to listen to what the members are telling you that they want and need, and for us, they want and need and value most events and the policy work. So I think listening to what the members need, and tying, and therefore there's a kind of tie-in there, and a springboard to get the events on the agenda more, but I think a real understanding for you as to how wide events can help an organization achieve their financial objectives, and being certain of that, and pushing that is key. But I do appreciate that, you know, boards are across associations and made up of different people with different kind of you know, there's different governance structures, isn't there, with regards to, you know, how much the executive can do.
Well, I really like, and I think ABCO members will value, you know, actually the importance of selling themselves internally, as well as, you know, to the audiences that come to the Congress, is critical if they're going to push themselves forward, as critical to the success of the association. But as we come to our last question, you know, I mean, we want to make sure that ABCO PCOs are recognised as, you know, the best. We spend a lot of time sharing with our members ways in which they can learn, engage together, peer-to-peer learning, case study learning. We bring in thought leaders. You know, how well is ABCO recognised within your organisation? And if it's not, what do you think we might do more to extend our external voice to making sure that associations out there know that ABCO means something important to them?
Yes, I mean, you know, our board don't really know about ABCO. My boss, our chief executive, knows about ABCO, and for me, very much the benefit of being a member of ABCO is on the kind of networking side, and the connection with my peers in other organisations for me to learn. And I think that actually, what we're going through now does provide ABCO with an opportunity, because I think the spotlight is being shone on events. We've got a lot of things to work through, and one of the things that my boss said to me, he said, I want to know what others are doing. You know, I want to make sure that we keep a pace with others, you know, especially as we're moving towards, you know, maybe doing some face-to-face events at some point in time. And he very much sees the kind of, I suppose it's an extension of, well, it's not extension of my team, but it's an extension of the knowledge that ABCO members can bring to an individual within an association. I think there is an opportunity at the moment for people really to regard ABCO with a different level. I mean, you've introduced these monthly coffee chat things, and I attended the last one you did, and I found it hugely beneficial, you know, just to chat to people about where they're at, etc. And if you can then take those chats back to the office and say, well, I heard this from so-and-so at our ABCO meeting, you know, you're gradually kind of getting the name and where your intel is coming from. So, you know, maybe that will help and provides an opportunity for ABCO.
Great. Well, thank you, Kate. Brilliant discussion. Really nice to hear what's going on at PLSA, for those sharing that with us. And I know that our members are going to really benefit from our conversation. So thank you.